All right, so we're going over plans, which on job sites and how we want them printed off are like this. It's going to be 24 inches rolled out. It's going to be 36 inches long. So when we print them, we can get them printed at FedEx. That's the size that we want them. That's typically how big you want them. And there's going to be usually a scale. Where are we at? A scale that's going to be on the plans. So down here, it'll say 1 inch equals 10 feet. Now that's typically going to be off of a 24 inch by 36 inch plan. That's your scale. If the architect or designer has formatted it for a different size, then we need to print to that size. But typically that's what we're looking at for that. So this is going to be more office side of things. If we get plans and it's, hey, I need these ordered, we send an email to FedEx with the plans. We're looking to get these printed off 24 inches by 36 inches. In some cases, we'll just say black and white. Other cases, we're going to say in full color. And they're expensive as hell. This and another set of plans that has fewer pages was $200 some odd dollars. And that was with their 20% promo code. So, but yeah, so let's get back to this guy right here. We've blanked out a couple things that have the information, because usually you'll have like the address or project name and they have the project name right there. But since this is going on YouTube, we're not doing that. So the other thing will be down in this area. If it gets approved by the city, we're going to get a stamp, and it might be City of Phoenix, City of Scottsdale, whatever it is, but those are the city stamped plans. That means the city approved it. And then this is going to be our cover page. So it's got a lot of different things on there with contractor responsibility, general note, subcontractors' responsibilities, and it's good to read through them. Once you've read through the first, it's like if you ever took the time to just throw your mind through a cheese grater and read the terms and agreements on some kind of service. A lot of them are the same, legal protection, stuff like that, because we're starting with the contractors to verify existing conditions, dimensions, and specific stuff. Like, they want you to go verify everything. It's a way of them covering their butts, but for the most part, this is going to be it should be pretty gospel for what we're building to. So, in this case, they put a rendering on there. A lot of times on the first page of plans, we're not going to have that. This is our general specifications. This is going to be, they've got specific things for the different call outs. And so this is where it would get specific. And when we send this to the trades, they're going to look at, let's see, all doors, window sizes are on shall be of types and sizes shown on the floor plan. All operable windows and sliding glass doors be provided with insect screens. So they're calling out a lot of stuff that might come standard, but when we get those sent out to the individual trades, they should be looking at it. So they're not doing primer? That's so dumb. We're doing primer. Well, it said unprimed, but so they have all those specifications, more general notes, because they are covering their butt. Doors and windows that shall provide access to the swimming pool area should be separated by an approved barrier. So like some of these things, they will become just industry lingo, but we need to kind of read through them, and then at the end we're going to go over a little on how to cheat this. They have a nailing schedule on here. So this is going to be the different types of connections that we're going to have throughout. It's a ceiling joist to plate to toenail. This is the size of nails that you need. It's any type of fastener, so screws as well. But that's what we're looking at. All right, before we really jump into this site plan part, what size do our plants need to be typically?
24 by 36.
There we go. So we've got, this is our house layout. This is our site plan. So they're going to be calling out, here's your pool, and usually they're going to have the direction orientating you towards where's north. So it's important to know your directions. Know your directions. Bless you.
Thank you.
Jeez. Esther, you've got more editing on the video. Do you need a
Good.
tissue?
Yeah, I'll be quick.
All right, so let's see. They have it labeled, this is the proposed livable addition. This is the existing patio, existing house, and then we've got this up front. They're going to be calling out the driveway, the distances to the fences, everything like that, because there's things called setbacks, and that's requirements on how far away from property lines you need to be, along with there's drainage, different stuff like that. So a lot of it is more for the city, but it also shows us, hey, here's where you can build, here's where you can't build. Now, as we start getting into these next pages, this is going to be should be our existing. So you start to pay attention to the different colored shading, and the nice part is we start having these number callouts on here. So when we have our number callouts, usually down here we have our demo keynotes. So this is going to be our demo plan, and yep, down here in the corner, they're going to orientate us to what page we're on and also what we're doing. This is I've got two sets of plans I'm going to show you guys. Neither of them have it, which is kind of annoying. On larger plan sets, you're going to have you'll have your A sheets, you'll have your E sheets, you'll have F sheets, you'll have H sheets, and usually that's for E is for electrical, F is for framing, you might have D for demo, but that way, if you have a large project that you can get to specific pages, usually depending on the phase that you're in. And then you can not just be scrolling through for A1, A2, A3. It makes it easier, especially for the trades, to go to, okay, I'm a framer. I don't care necessarily too much about where, what the, right now, I don't need to care about where all the different outlets are running. I need to worry about what's the framing detail going from here to here. But that's not on this one, not on the other one. But on our keynotes over here, like if we were to go to, they had number 7 on there. So zoom out. Number 7 is demo the existing roof structure, because we currently have a patio right here that's going to get removed. So the nice thing is when you kind of get to a demo sheet, or when you get to a lot of the sheets, when they start having the numbers, it becomes very much almost like a read by number type thing that you can go through. So we have an existing covered patio, 2 bathrooms. We've got the doors all called out in here. And then we've got the front entry where they're showing us like 5 and 6. Those are going to get removed. So if we were to go over to 5 and 6, demo all the electric in the area, demo existing door and the rough opening. And then we're going to keep the pre-hung door. We're probably getting them a new door because that's kind of, we'll see. Anyways, moving on to, this is going to be our floor plan. So we just went through the demo plan, and usually the demo plan is going to be a good way to see your floor plan. What's the existing floor plan for what it is right now? And then this is going to be, what are we turning it into? So if we can take a screenshot of this in our head real quick and get used to, okay, it looks like we have tub, toilet, sink, double sink. This is going to be a shower, expanded bedroom, and then these look like new walls right here. Remember, pay attention to the shading, cross-hatching, anything like that. It's hard to see probably on the video, but your shading is different on these guys than it is on the rest of them. And so a lot of times that might be a key to, okay, we need to go look at why is that shaded differently? Is it a different material? Is it framing, or is it block work, or what is it? So, but kind of grab a screenshot of that in your head, and then we have our entry right here. We've got a covered patio, we've got the door, and we're gonna have a window down there. So try and hold that as much as possible. And then we go back to our demo sheet and see okay, we've got 2 toilets, none of that stuff up there, and then this looks like it comes forward right there. So for the most part, we're pushing this forward and then building a patio right there. The bedroom gets reworked. So the doors, the hallway, that's where all those walls were, and then this gets redone right there. Cool?
Cool.
All right. Oh, I had something I was going to ask you guys. I totally forgot. Anyways, we'll move on. Does all this make sense so far? We need a little enthusiasm. I know it's early in the morning. All right, so for this guy, they have a lot on here, and the nice part once again is that they've got all the numbers in here so that we can refer to and look at, so that we can go over to our floor plan keynotes. So on here it's align the new wall flush with the existing exterior wall. Right there, we've got number 12, fur out new exterior wall as needed to match width of existing masonry wall. So as we go through this, we'd be able to look and see, okay, we'll verify this, but most likely this is all framing, and framing's not the same thickness as block. That's something you just more have to know. And the architect's telling you, make sure it's the same size at the end so you don't have a stupid jog in the wall. Going back to the shading on here, the dark colored right here is new masonry wall. The crosshatch is new 2x4 wood wall. The more spotted is 2x6. These dashed lines are overhead beam, and then the gray is the existing wall to remain. So as we start looking at it, we've got the dotted wall, which is going to be our 2x6, dashed wall, which is going to be our 2x4. Now this is kind of common for the industry. Exterior is going to be built out of 2x6s because it can bear more weight than 2x4s. But on the interior, if the 2x4s are non-load bearing, they're really just carrying drywall. We don't need to go to a 2x6 wall and make our walls a lot thicker. So that's what we're looking at. And they've got the different call outs for, like, let's look at number 5. Concrete stepping, refer to the foundation plan. And then we go, why are they calling that out? And it's because it's a shower. So they want this shower, when they say the concrete stepping, they want that concrete to be lower than the rest of the concrete that we're pouring for this area. For 9 and 10, I believe that's going to be stuff with the HVAC system. We've got a pocket door right there. We've got a pocket door here. So some of it is going to be, those should be on the details. These symbols usually refer to something that might be on a different page, and it's going to be a legend. And then they'll call out existing room, no changes, existing, no changes, existing, no changes. Now we're up front. A lot of it's the same thing. They have their call outs over here. And then they have their door schedule, window schedule. So they're going to be telling you, hey, this is what to get to replace whatever you have. Now, this is my own creation because we didn't have a plumbing plan originally. So the blue is the water lines, and a lot of times the architect will not put those on there. I put them on there just in case that we did want to draw them. But our existing drain lines, and this is what I put on there in the orange, runs from where the current master bathroom is all the way out to the front cleanouts. So I drew this, and this is what I sent to the architect so they can give us a real revised page to show the plumbing. And then this is essentially what I drew to say, this is how we're looking to tie everything in, because we have all these new areas that need to drain their water. How do we get all that water out of here? So that's what we're drawing it for. So a lot of times we got to be paying attention for that. They'll have the same legend and key and the call outs for it. Needs to be this size. This can drop down to this size, all that good stuff. But that's what we're looking at. All right, so if we wanted to get a screenshot of what the existing house is, where would we go?
The first page or
Demo plan.
Okay.
because it's going to show you here's what's existing, and it's going to have all the numbers of this is what goes away. Cool? All right, now we get to our foundation plan over here. So foundation plan is going to call out our concrete. It's going to show where we're going to have footers, so that's what it's going to be calling out. So a lot of times the shape starts to look really similar, and as you start to get an idea for, okay, if the foundation is in this area, when we go to the next page for framing, we're going to start to have an idea for it, because they're going to start calling out, you'll see on here, they've got a dashed line going around the edge. That's going to be a footer that's in there, and in the middle you're going to have your regular slab. So let's see, they have a number 2, new 4-inch slab is going to be poured. Number 3, this is going to be how to tie in the footing to the other ones, all that good stuff. So it's good for us to review these things, and since we're the general, like, we should know, we should be aware of it. These become very important for the guys who are doing their specific trades. So they should be the ones that know, hey, I need 1/2-inch rebar on here. It's good for us to know, because if they show up with 3/8, it's like, nope, get it out of here. A lot of times it's trade specific, all that good stuff. More nailing stuff, but that's usually more, this is for the foundation guys, that's going to be more on the concrete side. Now we get to the framing plan, we get to the roof plan, and they've called out the different red and blue on here. So they're calling out the difference between site-built rafters and then pre-engineered and pre-manufactured roof trusses. So when we're looking at it, there's going to be what's called a truss package that gets ordered, and that's what's going to be these blue guys that the framers will get in contact with a truss company. They will build the trusses to the specs that we need to carry the load, be the size that we want, all that good stuff. And they'll essentially take a crane, land them on their exterior walls, and go from there. So, but this is how they know, okay, I need regular trusses here, and then I've got a girder truss here, which is usually it's a doubled up truss or an extra large truss that can carry a lot more weight, because there might be weight that is carried off of that one specifically rather than just drywall underneath, because we have trusses going under here, and the only stuff that's being carried is really the drywall and the light fixture for the most part. But in this case, we might be hanging additional things off of that one specifically. So, but for the most part, it's the same thing. Where are all my details? What am I reading on there? And then this too shows us the direction of our trusses. The trusses in this house go this direction. So if, let's see, north was this way on the plans, north is that way in the house here, so our trusses would be drawn the same direction. And usually it's pretty easy to figure out, but okay. All right, for our, let's see, where do we go? If we want to know the distance on some of these things on the plan, how would we know how far apart or what the dimensions are on certain areas?
You measure them and look at the scaling then.
There we go. Perfect. And where's the scale, Ethan?
The scale is on the bottom left. Well, it's...
Yep. Yeah. So usually it's going to be in one of the bottom corners, bottom left. Sometimes it's in the bottom right. But yep, absolutely. All right. Now we've got, this is what we call our elevations. And elevations become nice because when you're looking at this, can you understand what's going on? It becomes easier as you've done it multiple times, and it also becomes easier once you've seen the elevations, because these have color on them, which is nice. A lot of times they're more just sketched, but they're going to call out west elevation, east elevation. They're going to have cross sections that are cut out of the house. So this is the west-east section. So it's like someone went and took a knife and sliced it off of the house. This is going to be our south elevation, our north elevation, so that we can see this is what it's supposed to look like. So the nice part is we can go, okay, on the front of the house, they said that we needed to have framed rafters. Okay, so that's why we don't have the trusses, but they've got that decorative framing right there. So we use the elevations to essentially say, here's how it's supposed to be put together, but also this is what it's supposed to look like at the end. And that becomes important because these guys, it's like these pieces of wood are going to be exposed. Sometimes outside, you'll see it on my house that when the rafters are coming down, they put drywall over it to finish it. Other times they're going to have it exposed. So if it's exposed, it's like, hey, we need to be careful with how we're marking them, no spray paint to mark them, anything like that, because then we're going to have the painter doing all kinds of things to sand it off, stuff like that. On the back side of the house or on the north elevation, so this is that peak with the trusses that we talked about. We know that we need a vent right there, which did we see that on the framing plan before? No. So that means that the framer would have to see this to know, okay, I need that gable vent there. And then also the window schedule, they've got all the dimensions here rather than on that plan because you're looking at the aerial, you're not looking at the elevation itself. This is all existing, nothing changes, existing roof, new roof gets tied into the other. Now right here, it's hard to see and I'm not going to zoom in right now, but it shows you it's 12.4. That's the pitch of the roof. And those details are most like the 12.4 is probably written into the roofing plan or the roofing detail or the framing plan and the framing detail. But a lot of times there's redundancy because they're trying to call it out. They don't want us to miss it. They don't want it to be, we don't have a detail for it. It's like, nope, it's there 2 or 3 times. All right, so this is more perspectives. So they took an angled view on the house. So they're showing you, okay, electrical boxes here, here's your entry, window, door, that, and that definitely looks like there's drywall underneath, which is nice to know. So we've got these large timbers that are there, but then that gets covered with drywall. Cool?
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's go back. All right, what's the importance of the different shading, spotting, and stuff like that on the pages for framing or for the foundation?
Shows
Tilted
what,
material.
yeah.
There we go. So it's just one of those things, when you see shading that's different, you need to pay attention. Like it's there for a reason. They're calling out something. Like in this case, we've got dark squares right here. And why was that? Because we've got these pillars that are coming up specifically right there. So that means there needs to be extra concrete right here because we've got the weight points, all that stuff. So it's the minute you see different shading, we need to figure out why. And like we said, there's that legend and key. All right, now we're on the electrical plan over here. So for this, they're going to be showing you where are the switches. So they've got almost these $ looking things, and then they have the lines drawn to where they're going. So we've got a switch on the wall. So you should be able to imagine, okay, I come down the hallway, I walk in the door, I can reach to my left, there's a switch that turns on the fan, and I've got a switch that turns on my can lights. I walk around, I've got my barn door right here, I step inside to the left, switch that controls my can lights, and then switch that controls most likely a chandelier in the middle. And then I've got a switch at the vanity that controls the lights over here. Now the circles with the 2 lines through them, those are going to be your outlets. They've got the outlets labeled throughout the room, all that good stuff. So they don't have any home runs drawn to the main panel, but that's what we're looking at. In this case, we have a pocket door, and instead of walking in and turning on your lights, you've got it on the outside right there. So you'll notice the different shapes, and architects will draw their things in different ways. Usually they're pretty similar. The $ looking stuff is your switches. The circles with the 2 lines through it are your outlets. And then the way that people draw fans, that one is usually different. So that's something to pay attention to. Oh, this is an exhaust fan most likely, because we had 2 of those on the HVAC plans. And then we could always refer over to our key on the side, where let's see, they don't have this one, but there's shading on part of our circle with the 2 lines through it. And that would mean that I can control an outlet with a switch on the wall. So, but it's essentially, we'd go through all of these. Okay, what's the, let's see, switch with the A, arc fault, circuit interrupter. So they have all of them essentially are on arc fault circuit interrupters except for these G's. Those are going to be GFCIs. Yep, ground fault. So it's, the electrician would be able to know, hey, this is what needs to be here. And a lot of times we're building to an industry standard, so you'll know here's what's supposed to be here. And if the electrician starts doing something weird that, hey, why are these connected to these outlets, but they're not a GFI? And then you can go refer to the plan real quick before you go talk to the electrician and be like, you're doing your job wrong. And then they get all mad, and then it's not good. Anyways. We can see there's a light outside, but not really a lot of electrical out here. Makes it easy for us, right? But we get to know. Now, this is where we get into some of the, as we usually get towards the back of the plans, there's going to be specific call outs for how do you build this? What does it look like put together on the connections? So this is going to be, this will be a good example of how they want the concrete poured. So this is your slab, which is usually 4 inches thick. This is going to be your footer. They want the rebar running through it. We've got a number 8, which number 4 continuous top and bottom. That's going to be the size of rebar that you have in there. You see how they've drawn the rebar, and then they have this anchor bolt there. Then they have drywall on the inside. They have plywood. They have styrofoam, and they have stucco on the outside. So if we look at number 4, T1 to 11 or stucco system, over minimum number 15 building paper felt. So that's the one I skipped. That gray one's gonna be the building paper right there. But number 6, they're calling out the weep screed down at the bottom. Number 7, 2x6, all that stuff. So they're showing you this is how we want it built. That there's the layers to it. So as the inspector comes out, he should be able to check, if something seems weird, what does the plan call out? What did we as the city stamp? And if we're looking to see if we have stamped plans or plans that we printed off from earlier, where would we look to find the stamp?
The stamp is usually on the right side, like on the first page.
There you go. It'll actually be on every page. On the right page. Side. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. They stamp every page, because if you slip an extra page in there and we make our own details, then they're going to be like, nuh-uh, get it out of here. So they have the details for how the rafters connect to the walls at the studs. So you've got double top plate, you've got your connection right here, and then that's your joist that's running across, all that good stuff. So that kind of looks like it dead ends at the wall number 4 edge nailing. So yeah, but this is, we start to pay attention for details. The big thing to look for is, are there anything on here that is different than usual? In this case, for the most part, the addition that we're doing is pretty standard, pretty straightforward. So there's not going to be anything too out of the normal for what we're doing. When you get into a project that has some very precise things, or hey, we're transferring load in a specific way, they might have a very specific call out for, usually this is 16 inches, but in this case it needs to be 24 inches or whatever it is. So that's where it becomes really important for you and the inspector as well. And the nice part about this is, when you have a city stamp plan, if the inspector starts to tell you, hey, I need this concrete pad bigger for your footer, you always very politely, very gently, hey, can we go look at the plans to double check that, because the city stamped us on this exact size and all that stuff. There's times where they can still give you crap about it, but that's kind of it allows us to almost use it as this is our building Bible in a way that this is sets the standard for everything. All right. This, when you see these guys, this means an engineer stamped it. And why is that? Because we have load calculations on here. So let's see, this is for lentils. This would be if we have, like we have a block house and above the window right there, they have a piece of steel that's called the lentil that goes in and it makes sure that the block just doesn't fall on top of the window, cave it in and all that stuff. But depending on the size of the space you have and how much weight's coming down determines the thickness of the metal, the size of it, all that good stuff. But someone needs to do all the math for that, and that's what the engineer does, and they need to stamp it that, yes, this size and this length is going to be compatible with the amount of weight that we're putting on it through the entire project. There's other, like for some of the trusses, there needs to be usually a tag that's on them or other stamps. So there's certain times where the city won't approve plans unless we have certain stamps on there. When we have a large, like if we had a ground up build, they're going to need usually approvals and stamps for the electrical, plumbing, HVAC, all that good stuff. Make sense? Mm-hmm. Cool. All right, so how long has that video been going?
It's like
I don't know, but it's 6:46.
31 minutes.
Jeez, okay, we're taking way too long. We're going to start looking through this one real quickly. So this is a different set of plans, and what I'm going to start doing is going over, I'm going to try and have you guys start calling out things on here as we've gone over it. So that's not supposed to be there. All right, so this right here, do you remember what this page is called? If I've got, this shows me the entire lot, this shows me the house and any additional structures.
What it's called?
Yep.
I do not. It's like
This is going to be our site plan.
site plan.
Yep. So it shows you your entire site and the plan on it. So this shows you, okay, here's the cross hatching, depicts where the addition is, depicts the area of the remodel, everything else stays the same. This is the main house. Usually, for the most part, like in a remodel, we don't have too much that we're dealing with it. The city is the one that usually wants the site plan more than anything. If we're doing, like if we were to be building this building, we might have to look at drainage or stuff like that for the site plan. Not as big for what we're doing right now. All right, so then this is where all our notes are. We have our elevations. Their elevations are more up front. And you know how I was drawing the drainage on the other plan?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They drew it right here on this one. Okay, let's see. Foundation plan, roof structural, electrical. They don't have a demo plan. Dumb. Which is actually going to make it harder for you guys. All right. Looking at this one, though, what's going to key you off to where the addition and the remodel is going?
The
Thick black line.
builded, yeah.
There we go. Perfect. So, and then I'm not sure if you guys can really see it or everyone else can see it. Do you see these green lines?
Mm-hmm.
So that's essentially, those are the original walls as they are right now. So they're kind of combining the two things into one, which is kind of annoying. But as you start to figure it out, okay, so we're going to be blowing all this apart. This is the general shape of what it is right now. And then this is what it turns into up here. All right, so let's see. All right, for all these guys, if I need to know how much concrete is going in there or what the concrete's looking like, where should I be going?
The flooring plan.
Foundation, yes. Yep. Absolutely. So that takes us to this one. Yep, there it is, foundation plan. So, and they're going to be showing you, this is going to be current, because remember where all our green lines were?
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to follow our green lines right there, and this is going to show us, okay, we need something out here. We need we've got our crosshatch lines, so that'd be over in our detail, and they're going to show you what it is. The difference with this one too, you remember how we had the one page where it showed you the detail for the framing, the concrete, and everything?
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have it all on the side of the page right here. So same thing, you've got your stud, this is how thick it needs to be, this is your 4-inch slab, this is your bolt, all that stuff. And then on the exterior, it's kind of like it needs to be siding, stucco, whatever it is. They're not calling it out right now, but that's what it's going to look like. Alrighty. And then, let's see, where is... What's this down here?
Is that the engineer stand?
Yep. And why would they be putting a stamp on this page?
The roof, probably the weight of the roof.
Yep, it's going to be for your truss package that goes in there. So, looking at it, I don't see it labeled on here. This direction is north. So, which way? Let's see. Do you see how we've got two different directions with our trusses in the house?
Yeah.
Okay. If this is north, which way are the blue trusses running?
East to west.
Yep. And then Ethan, which way are our black trusses running over where the patio is?
Are like north to south?
Yep, absolutely. And then this shows you how everything gets tied in for your drainage on the roof. And once again, they've got that green in there. I really wish they did a demo plan. But once again, you gotta roll with what they give you. All right, electrical plan. In here, ooh, this might be a good one. Where should the switch go for the lights on the patio?
Is it right where that? Wait. Is it like inside, right where that? Like the line from the fan goes?
The bathroom wall on yeah.
Yep, right there. So you just follow the lines back to it. But why is this important? Because a lot of times we're drawing the switches to where you walk into a space or you walk out to a space and then turn it on, right? But in this case, it's outside. Sometimes I want to turn on my outside lights without being outside. So they're drawing them right there. Once again, though, we're not drawing them to where they're right here or they're right here. They're farther away, which is kind of odd, but the architect might have a reason for why they did it that way, because we'd have a stud pack, so we can't do it over here. There's going to be things over here, so they're putting it in this location here. Let's see. Is there anything special about the outlets in the kitchen, especially on, we'll just say in the kitchen?
Most of them look the same.
Is there any lettering that would tell you there's something that needs to be done with them? GFIs. Yep. So you're gonna be GFIs.
Okay, the I gets cut off in some of them.
Yeah.
And the dotted line.
Yeah. So, but any wet location, this is just code that if you're within 6 feet of a wet location, you need to be GFIs. So usually all the outlets in a kitchen and then also all the outlets in a bathroom are going to be GFIs. Laundry, that's a GFI. That's going to be your 220. Let's see, what else do we got? So, what is this, if you had to guess?
So
Can light.
Yeah. But you remember how it's different than on the other one? The other one were just circles. This is a special call out. So, cool. All right. That's our electrical plan. And now look, they have some of the details here, but less than the other one. Okay. Do we have any questions before we get out of this before we call it for the day? All set? Cool. All right. So if we're looking to know what materials something's made out of, where are we looking?
At the shading.
Yep, the shading and the detail for it. What are when you see the numbers on a page, what are those calling out?
They're calling out. It's like referencing where to look. Like when you look to the side, there's numbers on the side calling out the like specifications.
Absolutely. And then if you wanted to know details about the electrical or drywall or the doors and windows, where would you be looking? And I'm going to say it's written more in a paragraph form. Where would you be looking?
In the beginning, the first page that has everyone, all the
trades.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of times first couple pages, especially if you get a fat stack of plans. Like, imagine that TSMC plant out there. Their plans are probably like this big. It's probably hell going through that. All right. Now, this is a little tip for you guys that we need to be making sure that we're very familiar with the plans that we have for our projects. But one of the ways that we can cheat it is a lot of the AI tools are actually pretty good at reading the plans. So you can dump it in there and say, hey, is there anything, like, can you give me a summary of these plans? Any specific things that I should be aware of? So if you need to know something really quickly, what do I need to know? And then it can give you a quick summary of what's going on, stuff like that. But at the end of the day, our job is to lead a project. Our job is to know the details on the project. So while a drywaller might be able to come up, hey, what are my notes? The framer might be able to come up, okay, where are my pages? We need to be able to understand how all the pages go together. Every once in a while, you might have a framer that gets so locked into what they're doing with framing that we need to understand what's happening with the plumbing, what's happening with the lighting, what's happening with the HVAC, where, hey, we actually need extra blocking in this area or extra framing in this area for that, because we're the ones who are supposed to understand all of the pages front to back. So big takeaways are going to be, make sure you pay attention to differences in shading. Like if you see something repeated and then all of a sudden, that's odd, always go find, where can I reference the symbol? Where can I reference the number that calls that out? Stuff like that. Pay attention to the directions that things are going, like your trusses, stuff like that. And then we need to just make sure we're familiar with the notes. We can kind of cheat and use some of the AI stuff to get some of those answers a little quicker and up front. But it's very important that as we're leading projects, we should start to understand this. We should be able to start to look at this, and as it's being built, be able to see the whole thing in our head. Cool?
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right, there we go.